Hi everyone, it's Justine here from House of Mahalo. Thanks so much for joining me. So, hands up if you remember this one. This journal that I started a couple of years ago. Hands up if you remember it. This is my Through the Seasons Altered Book Journal, where we've got spring, we've got autumn, and we've got winter. I'm ready to work on the summer pages, finally. So it has been a good couple of years since I've last had this out. The truth is, summer is my least energy kind of months. They're not my favourite months. I'm not really a summer girly. I'm definitely a spring or autumn girly. So I just haven't had the energy or the motivation to work on the summer pages. And I absolutely love how the rest of it turned out. So I knew that I wanted to wait until I was fully ready. And I decided to put up a poll in my Facebook group recently, my new Facebook group, House of Mahalo's Crafting Circle, and we were celebrating at the time, I think, like 100 members or something, as well as a few other things. And I asked them, which out of these would you most like to see? A good, 56% of the votes went to getting the altered book out and doing the summer pages. So here we are. Here I am to do summer with you all. So I hope that you enjoyed the videos. So today is the start of me showing the videos for summer. So as per the other seasons, what I've done is I have done a overview page as the start of the season, and I always do it as just a very simple collage. And I usually do this one off screen because it just gets me into the zone of what the season is going to look like. It sets the tone for the rest of the season and it just gets me into the groove. So this is how summer is starting. So I've used my In the Garden kit with a few new digitals I've created. So the idea is I wanted a more subtle start to summer. So if I show you spring, so the first page of spring, just in case, it has been a long time since anyone has seen this, so just as a reminder, this was spring. Now these are pockets, but as you can see, it's a relatively simple, here is spring, here is the start to spring. And autumn was the same sort of idea. You know, it's very clearly autumn, but it is a very simple collage. You know, there's not a lot to it. So this is how summer is looking. And I wanted it to be this subtle start to summer because for me, the whole garden vibe of summer, so spending more time in the garden and outside and all the flowers coming out, it's a very subtle change, I think, from spring into summer. So I didn't want it to be just suddenly loud colour, bold, bright pink and all the rest of it. But I did want it to be a little bit more bolder and a little bit more brighter than how the spring pages were looking. So you can see a bit of colour, pinks and yellows and things, but it's very soft. Then we come into summer where I wanted it to be that subtle change between the two. So this is how we're looking. And I'm going to do the page, this page with you today in this video. So just like before, again, if you haven't seen the series, I do have a playlist. That playlist will be available on my YouTube channel until the end of September. So if you haven't seen the previous pages, please do go have a look at the videos if you're interested in them. They will be taken down from YouTube at the end of September because I'm actually going to turn this whole thing into a workshop that comes with a bunch of printables so you can create your very own Through the Seasons Altered Book Journal. But anyway, so we're doing a page at a time. So here in this video, this is the page we're going to be doing, which I've got the pages torn out here. So these pages are going to be joined together, but this time I folded this back and we're going to have a nice side pocket here. And I had this scrap. So this is I think this is a Stamperia pad, and it was a little bit taller in length. So I had this much that I just cut off, but width wise, it was like perfect to fit here on top of this side pocket. And I thought, how fun would it be to have a side pocket and then this taller pocket which could have a slip of paper or a thin tag or something in. So a pocket on a pocket. I thought that would be a fun one for this one. So that is what we're going to do. But first things first, just like before, we need to cover up the pages with our nice papers. So I'm using some pages from my new kit, which is called Peachtree Lane. It's not currently available on my Etsy. It is only in my membership at the moment, but it will be on Etsy within the next, I don't know, few weeks or so. So I'm using some pages from that because it's got some really nice like florals and peach tones to it. It's got some nice colours for summer, I think, for again that sort of soft approach. So I want to line the pocket, I want to have a page here, and then I thought I would do something fun with these scraps that I've got. So let's get to it. So I hope that you are looking forward to me having the altered book back open. I know, for anyone saying it has been a long time coming, I fully agree with you there. It has been a long time coming, but I'm excited to get back into it. It has been on my list for a long time. It's just I've had other things going on, but it's nice now that I can get back into it. And it was nice to hear that people wanted it as well, wanted to see it. So that just gave me more impetus. You know, if I know that people want to see things, then of course I'm going to come on and do them. So I'm just lining the pocket there. And as you can see with this one, I didn't need to go all the way into the spine. That just saves bulk and it saves a little bit of gaiter mouth as well. So I've just got enough that when I fold this pocket over, you can't see the end of this paper, but it's not like right in the groove, right in the spine. So I'm using my Mahalo glue. It's just, it's a good glue, it's a wet glue, but I'm not using heaps and heaps. I'm just using enough just to get the paper down. And then, as I did in other videos, other times I've worked on this, I will be, let me just see where the end of this paper is here. There we go. I will be coming through and going around the edges with my little nozzle. So you can see like bits like this will be caught with my little glue very shortly. So I'm really just making sure that this paper is up to the side here as best I can, so it hides any gumph along the end there, but I can always ink it more. So I did only ink it very lightly. And I'm okay with there being a slight border down here because I'm going to use this nice scrap on top here. I just thought that would give that page a little bit more interest than just gluing down a digital, you know, so let's pop that in. And, you know, torn paper and stuff is always a good one for if you tear your paper slightly short or narrow, you can always add more layers and, you know, bits of torn paper, torn washi, all different things like that to make what you've done look really intentional. It's like we're hiding where we've made an error and where we've torn things. But because we've got a torn paper going on, it looks like we've intentionally made this sort of like design, like intentional design. Torn paper, torn washi is my go-to for any kind of journal I'm making, whether it's an altered book journal or just, you know, a bog standard junk journal. That's the same thing I did here with this torn washi. It added colour to the page and it added something a bit to it, but it was also to cover up the fact that I hadn't put the paper quite in the right place. So I'm going to go ahead and cover up this pocket now with this piece. So what I've done with this one is, because I'm adding the pocket on top here with that scrap of paper, I didn't want to, I wanted this to fold over the edge because I don't want to add any crochet to the edge of the pocket or anything. So, why is that super tall? I haven't cut that one down, obviously. Right, be careful not to get glue everywhere, Justine. Okay, I'll sort that out in a minute. Yeah, so I could just cut off any excess. I just don't want to get the string caught in my glue. So let's just glue here then. So I'm just going to fold that over. So that will reinforce the pocket and it will make it so that everything looks nice. I don't have to add any additional crochet to the edge of the pocket like sometimes we do. I don't have to do any of that for this, but I do need to cut off that excess paper. So let me just turn this around, and I'm just going to follow the book page. I'm just being careful that I'm not cutting anything I shouldn't be. Oh, the concentration that took to cut a straight line. If anyone knows that feeling, you and I will be great friends indeed. Okay, right, I'm going to use the other scissors for that little bit there. I've just got a teensy tiny little bit here. But you know, this is the great thing about these altered books. You know, we can go a page at a time, bit by bit, building it up into something really cool and unique. Okay, right, so I think at this point what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and just make sure that all the edges like this are down with my little nozzle. But I will pause here because this is a little bit tedious to watch, I'm sure. So let me move forward with these bits and I will come back to you and do the next part together. So that's everything glued down now. So what I want to do next is go ahead and glue up my pocket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Beacon 3-in-1, it's like Fabri-Tac, to go in the crux here. So where all this messiness is. Just going to do a nice good helping there. And then to glue it up like a pocket, I'm just going to do a little bit of glue across the top and across the bottom like so to make my side pocket. And then to make sure it all glues down nice, I'm just going to lift these pages up here like so. It just helps with lifting them up like this, just helps to stop things from buckling funny. So yeah, I just want to get in there with that glue. Just thought I'd put a little bit of pressure on the page there just to make sure it's all glued down well. So I'm going to give that a bit to take. So for now I'm going to move on to essentially the decorating phase. So with this pocket I'm going to add a little thumb notch here. There we go, just to make it really clear that this is a pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this pocket on 3 sides. Now I've changed my mind slightly on where I want this pocket to be. Originally I glued it down and then changed my mind, so peeled it up quickly, and I'm just going to butt it at the bottom of the page and right up against the side of the pocket, so it's really in essentially this like corner of the pocket. And for the eagle-eyed among you might notice this blank space down here. I had a couple of options. First of all, the reason that is like that is because I didn't tear this paper here in the right place, and I could have torn a new piece of paper, but I didn't want to go and print any more. I didn't want to waste what I had, so I thought no, I can use it. Okay, so that's the pocket down. I could have had this scrap go right the way across, so it would have covered the middle here, but again I didn't have enough, didn't want to waste what I had. And I could have done just like a torn bit of paper, but because I had that there, I just felt like it would be too much. So I know this will add bulk, but I'm actually going to add a bit of crochet just down there, because not only does that look really decorative, nice and soft for summer, it will add bulk. So I wouldn't do it on every page, I would do it very sparingly, but I'm just checking as a whole. I think it's going to look really nice, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that in. As I said, it will add bulk to the spine, so yeah, don't do it on every page, but just, you know, the odd one here and there I think is fine for something to be here in the spine like this. So plenty of glue, and I'm using this piece because it was literally a scrap on my desk, so again I'm just trying my best to use what I've got and just, you know, make it work with what I have available to me. But I am just, as you can see, I'm just coming in slightly from the centre so that it still looks decorative, but I'm just like slightly out of that spine. And then I can finish cutting that off in a second once it's just taken a little bit of chance to dry. Leave it alone, Justine. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead with a couple of these decorations. So I've just got the word Summer Haze here, which I'm going to have decorate the pocket down here. I haven't added anything to it, it's literally just the word torn out. So I like the simplicity of it. I might add a little something to it shortly once I've seen everything together. And I have this label from Collage Type. So I'm actually going to glue this one down as a pocket. So I have an idea for this one. Just take off a little bit of that glue. As you can see, I did test whether I wanted to stamp or stencil it, but I didn't. I didn't like how that was looking, so as I said, I'm just going to move it down slightly, there we go. Because I have this little piece of Tim Holtz ephemera, which I was originally using as part of like a little cluster decoration. But I then started liking the idea of, what if you could remove this and write on the back? And with this whole altered book, every so often I have been trying to put in like extra journaling spots where possible. So eventually I'm gonna work that in somehow in there once that glue is dried, but I'll have it as like a little bonus ephemera piece like so. But yeah, I have to wait for that glue to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue this flower down. So yeah, it's one of those things with the altered book, any kind of page that you're doing, it's just, you know, to take your time with it and build it up into what you want it to look like. And it's, you know, in some cases it is just taking, you know, a bit at a time and just trialing things out, testing things and all of the rest of it until you're happy with what you've got. And then, you know, the committal to actually, you know, gluing things down and yeah, and all of that. Yeah, so eventually that's going to sit in there and it just looks really cool. It looks like, you know, a little bit to poke out. And my thoughts for this was you could have some kind of date, or somebody could write something there as they're journaling. So I don't know, say that's a trip to the seaside, I don't know, a gardening task, it could be anything. And then this is where they do their journaling about whatever it is they want to have there. So, you know, I was thinking, should I stamp on it or something? But I thought, you know what, someone can actually use that as part of their journaling. So I'm going to leave that. I do have this, which is going to be the journal card for in there. So I'm going to have this dog essentially like part poking out, which is going to add to decoration as well. So put that there to remind me, because I will be doing the ephemera as like a separate thing, but it will just be simply just a case of backing this as like a large journal card. So that dog will just be partly poking out from there, which would be nice. And then, yeah, the only other thing I need to do really is I do a bit of stenciling. So I have this tea-ring stencil, and I've been using this throughout the whole altered book. So it's basically like, you know, the, I don't know what to call it, like the consistency. And all I'm doing is just coming in and just adding a few tea-rings here and there. It just adds something to the background. And, you know, to stop it being quite so plain, but it's still, you know, ample for somebody to be journaling over and everything. Now in this case, what I might do is just do, if I can, just get this in the right place. Be nice just to get a little bit of the tea ring and splashes on that label, just so that it then feels like it's all part of the same page, sort of thing. Yeah. And then this is where I usually go a little bit overboard with this stencil. I get a little bit carried away. I'm trying very hard not to get too carried away. But I just feel like it just adds that little bit of something to it, and it's not adding any bulk, it's just adding a little bit of decorative feel, and then because I've used it throughout, it does feel consistent. Okay, so here is where I just do a little bit of a look at what I've got, just to feel if it wants anything else. Possibly something with this. So I'm just going to have a look through my tray of wonders, because I'm thinking what I might want to have is just like, yellow is not the right colour, but I'm wondering if I want to maybe bring in just a couple of pieces so that that word doesn't look like it's just plonked down. So let me have a little nosy through my tray and I will show you what I choose, if anything. Top tip, if you are struggling with how to decorate things, sometimes it's useful, especially if you're going to have stuff in the pockets that is illustrated, sometimes it's useful to just pop in what you think you're going to have there, because I want this dog peeking out, this sleepy dog, summer haze, dozing dog, you know, that sort of vibe I like the sound of. So because of that, if I were to put something there, I just feel like it would detract from the dog. So at the moment, I feel like I'm liking the blend of how everything is looking. I can always add more to it later. So if I do feel like I need to add something, I can do that at a later stage once I've got stuff in the pockets. So for now, I'm actually going to leave it there, and I'm going to call this page done. So we have our side pocket, which is going to have my dog tag in there. And we've got this bonus pocket on top, which is going to have something inside. And then we've got all of this journaling space. And then, of course, we've got the bonus, nearly forgot about that. We've got the bonus little writing spot there, which I think, you know, it's one of those, it looks like it's an embellishment, which is probably why I forgot that I turned it into a pocket. But it's actually, you know, another writing spot. So there you go. Technically, 4 different spaces to do your journaling. For this double page spread. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing that come together, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing how the rest of the summer pages come together. To everyone who has been very patiently waiting for me to get the book back out again, thanks for being so patient, and I hope you enjoy the videos as they come up. For anyone else who, if you're new to my channel and you're thinking, what is she talking about? Then there is, as I mentioned, a total playlist that you can follow along with if you want to. Which has spring, autumn and winter, and now it's just a case of us doing the summer pages, as well as a few finishing touches, and of course some of the ephemera will be done on video as well, depending on what is going in there. So thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video if you are going to carry on watching, and thanks so much for joining me. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye bye for now.